Hello the YouTubes, Ash back once again with another video, and I've gone back to doing a movie review. It's been a while since I've done one. I'm not sure if this is going to be the first of a new trend of movie reviews or not. I'm not sure, we'll see how it goes. But I went to see Justice League last night and I want to talk about it because it's getting panned by critics and it's getting mixed reviews from people like me who just enjoy films. So I thought I'd chuck my 2 cents in. If you follow me on social media at all, you'll see that I did enjoy the movie. But I also said it's not without its problems. So I wanted to talk a bit more about that because Twitter, Facebook, it just doesn't give you enough scope to go into the detail of why, basically. So here is my review of Justice League. So for those of you who don't know what Justice League is, you probably do, that's why you're watching this video. But if you don't, it is basically DC's version of the Avengers. So you've got Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, The Flash, Superman. Let's be honest, you knew Superman was in it because the marketing gave it away. Coming together, teaming up to become a new team of superheroes to take on a big baddie. I like to dream. Yeah, so as we know, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman have all appeared on screen already. We've had little sort of hints at Flash and tiny little introduction to Cyborg in Batman vs Superman. Aquaman as well, I forgot to mention Aquaman, but yeah, we got a little sort of hint of him in Batman vs Superman as well. Obviously he plays a much bigger part in this one. So yeah, it's all about this team coming together to take on this big baddie that's appeared. Do you know what it is? This is the problem I have with critics. They bang on at DC movies saying take a leaf out of Marvel's book, try and be more like Marvel. So we've got a big team of people coming against a baddie who's just here to sort of set up the next villain. It couldn't get much more Marvel than that, yet DC get lambasted for it. You've got to have some consistency in your complaints, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so Batman has noticed that the world's sort of gone to hell and something big's coming, and he's trying to grab this team together because he knows he can't do it on his own. Most of them sort of initially don't want anything to do with it, and then they sort of realise they kind of have to because it's sort of their lot in life. My biggest issue with this film is the fact that everything just happens a bit too quickly. The team comes together too quickly, the villain's introduced too quickly. And we know why that is, because Warner Brothers sent down a mandate to the filmmakers saying, right, we're tired of these bloated superhero films, make this 2 hours or less. That's your mandate. Hit that target, you've got to do that. Which is just ridiculous, because I think the original cut of the film was 2 hours 45 minutes, and I think we really need those 45 minutes. Hopefully when it comes out on Blu-ray there will be an extended version, like a director's cut or something, because we do need those 45 minutes to sort of pad the thing out a little bit. It's all well and good having a film that's all action, 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 story, plot driven, go, move, move, move. But when it comes at the expense of common sense and the fact that you can just jar in edits, it's not such a good move, I don't think. I'm not going to get into spoiler territory here, but there is like an event that happens, and I think another reviewer I watched picked up on this, then he did his spoiler review and it was the exact same incident. I was thinking, it's sort of like they literally point off into the distance and go, oops, that happened. I reckon that there was a scene there where something much more exciting happened. I don't think they were as far away from it as that scene suggested, and I think something occurred, then the thing happened. And the film just suffers with little things like that. It's sort of like, right, we need to do this, and then, alright, we've done that. It's sort of like, it's shit's happening off screen that should be on screen, basically. And I'm confident that in the 2 hour 45 minute cut, those bits will be in, and the story will make a bit more sense. Things were just a little bit rushed, is what I'm saying, and that was an issue for me. But on the flip side of that, it does make the film entertaining, because you don't really have time to take a breath. It kicks off with action, and then it's just action and story all the way through. Which is fine, because let's be honest, movies are entertainment. And if you're not entertained, the movie's not doing its job. But as I have said, plenty of action in it, and the action is fantastic. So another issue I have with the film, I'm going to get the issues out of the way first. This is what I'm planning to do. Start crap, end strong. Another issue I have with it is the villain. They've gone, like I said before, too much like Marvel. The villain's just disposable. He's just there to set up the next big one. Steppenwolf. I like to dream. Basically, a big CGI character which could have been done practically, let's be honest. It's just a man with a big bloody hat on. Yeah, he's bigger than other men, but there's ways around that you can CGI an actual physical human to look bigger. Instead, they've gone with a full CGI man, and at times it just takes you out of it. But again, he's just sort of there to create this hell on earth. Nah, doesn't really get involved. He's not in the screen a lot. He's just sort of the boogeyman, basically. He's the big bad. You got to fight for things to progress in the story. He's not great. He's big. He hits things. That's about it. So yeah, so he's a very Marvel villain. He's just there to progress the story on, and that's about it. Another little gripe with the film is it's like every other DCEU movie that's come out so far. It ends in a big CGI battlefield with some oddly coloured sky and lots of electricity and just chaos on the screen. And it's like, okay, we've seen this now. There must be another way of instilling this thought of dread and end of the world without having some ridiculous coloured skyscape and this sort of hell on earth battlefield thing and a CGI everywhere. It's getting old now. They need to come up with something new, I think. But by far my biggest issue with this film, by miles, is the Ballad of Henry Cavill's top lip. I mean, honestly, if you're not aware, Henry Cavill was called in to do some reshoots for this film, but at the time he was filming Mission Impossible 6, and in Mission Impossible 6 he's got a big ridiculous moustache. And Paramount wouldn't let him shave it off for the reshoots, so they had to CGI the moustache off in post-production. And instead of just CGIing the moustache off, they seem to have CGI'd half of his face. So you get this weird uncanny valley thing in some of the scenes with Superman in, and it's very, very noticeable. I think even if you didn't know they'd done it, you would be able to tell they'd done something. And then I ended up just playing a game with myself. Real face, fake face. And it just distracted us. It took me out of the film. And it's like my biggest gripe with this film, by far. It was stupid. And I blame Paramount for it, because it would have been much easier for him to shave a moustache on and put a fake one on for the rest of the shooting at Mission Impossible 6 than it would have been to CGI a hairy top lip. It just seems like an odd decision, and I'm sure Paramount have done it just to be dicks. Anyway, that's my negative out of the way. I think it's time we move on to the positive, the reasons why I enjoyed this film. And as I've already mentioned, not at one point, at any point, was I bored in this film. Not for a second. I didn't think it dragged at any moment. I have said that that is also a bit of an issue because things needed to happen, but no, it's not boring, and the action is fantastic, well choreographed, well shot. There weren't many times in most modern action films where you see something going down on the screen and you haven't got a chuffing clue who it is or what's happening. There was none of that. You can see Joss Whedon's stamp on it, again, if you're not familiar with the story. This is what I'm saying. There's so much widely publicised crap goes on with the shooting of these films that it just makes it easy for critics to pull it apart, because they've already got their bullets loaded. They've got their excuses built in. But Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder, his wife, had to pull away from the production of this somewhere near the end of filming, I think. Because of a family tragedy, and Joss Whedon stepped in, did a few rewrites, directed what was left to direct. So it said he was going to do it as Zack Snyder's vision, but you can tell there's like Whedon's stamp on it as well. But in my eyes, that's a good thing. I mean, we all liked Avengers, didn't we? And Joss Whedon did a good job on that. But it brings levity to the characters. I'm not sure it would have been there under Zack Snyder. I think there would have been the odd one-liner, but I don't think they would have landed as well or as often as they do with Whedon behind the camera. Especially Flash. Flash is just hilarious. Everything he says and does was just brilliant. And I think he might have been my favourite character in it. Except Wonder Woman, because Gal Gadot. Oh my god. But yeah, Ezra Miller as the Flash, absolutely perfect. I mean, I've been watching the Flash TV series and really wanted Grant Gustin to come in the film, but didn't miss him at all. I thought Ezra Miller did a fantastic job, as did everybody else, if I'm being honest. I mean, I've bitched about Steppenwolf, I like to dream, but Kieran Hines did the voice of Steppenwolf, I like to dream, and I thought he did a really good job. Did good with what he had to work with, which, to be honest, wasn't a lot. Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne nails it again. Devastated that he's lost interest in being Batman. Rumours circulating about him pulling out of the standalone trilogy. I'll be gutted, I'll be sad to see him go, but nothing I can do about it, is there? So we'll just see how it all plays out. But in the instances he has appeared as Batman, he's probably been the best Batman we've had. As I hinted, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, fantastic. Probably the actual star of the show, which makes sense coming off the back of Wonder Woman being such a success. They probably made sure that she was at the forefront of this one, which she is. Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Aqua Surf Dude, just absolutely class. I mean, you look at the trailers and the film should be called Aquaman Hitches a Lift Off Other People, because that's all he seems to do. What are you going to do with that? But he does get his moments. He gets his chance to shine. A nice little monologue before the big battle at the end. Really funny. And then Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I didn't know a great deal about Cyborg. I wasn't a fan going in. I thought the CGI in the trailers, he looked well dodgy, and I wasn't impressed at all. They have sharpened that up. He doesn't look as bad as he did in the trailers. And I think as far as like story arcs go in this film, he has the most sort of defined arc. Coming in as the reluctant hero and then realising his place in the world sort of thing by the end. Really well done. Ray Fisher absolutely killed it. He hit all the emotional beats. He hit the comedy beats. Can't really complain. I don't have an issue with anybody in the film. I don't think anybody put in a bad performance. Except maybe J.K. Simmons' hairpiece. That was uncalled for. But the one thing I was pleased to see, and as I said, we already know that Superman's in this. The fact that they tried to hide it in the trailers and everything and make it seem like he wasn't in it, and then all of a sudden this story came about his top lip, it just blew all that out the water. So yes, he's in it. Let's be honest, you knew it was coming. But they've sharpened it up. They've made Superman more like what Superman should be. He's not that dark, brooding, miserable git of a Superman that we've had in the other Man of Steel films and Batman vs Superman. It's got a bit more of a sort of Christopher Reeve feel about it, which is exactly what you want. That's the Superman I grew up with. That's the Superman most people remember. Brilliant. It had to be done. Another thing I really liked was Danny Elfman did the score for this one, and he brought back a couple of famous scores that are sort of interwoven into the film. They're not in your face. They're quite subtle, sort of slight variations of the theme, but they're there, and if you know, you'll recognise them. And it's just, it brought a little smile to my face. I actually chuckled when I heard it the first time. I thought that was a nice touch. There are a couple of post-credit scenes, both definitely worth sticking around for. I'm not going to tell you what happens in them, who's in them or whatever, but stay in your seat until the very end because they're good. They're actually worth seeing. The ones in the Marvel films have become quite disposable lately, I think, especially the Thor Ragnarok one was just like, that didn't need to be there. Definitely the second post-credit scene in Justice League needs to be there. The mid-credit scene, it's a throwaway, but it was a good one. But the end one definitely needs to be there. It sets things up for the DCEU going forward. And that's what you want. That's what these post-credit scenes are supposed to do. So yeah, that is my sort of jumbled, mixed up thoughts on Justice League. I've probably not covered half the things I wanted to. I don't script these things. I just try and let them flow organically, as you can tell by the ums and ahs and the stutters and the cuts. But yeah, I've probably missed stuff that I wanted to mention. And what can you do? Stuff happens. If you really want to know how good it is, go and see it for yourself. Make your own mind up. I'm going to give it 4 Ash Academy Awards out of 5. I think, like I say, it's not perfect. But just don't listen to critics who are just banging onto this bandwagon, this fashionable trend of battering DC movies for the sake of it. So have you seen Justice League? Let me know in the comments below if you have or if you plan to. Or if you're not going to go and see it, let me know why. Basically, just let me know your thoughts, your feelings. Talk to me, open up, speak. And if you don't mind, if you want me to do more film reviews, let me know, because I do kind of miss doing them. Maybe next time I'll sort of sit down and think it through before I sit in front of the camera. You know. As always, if you like the video, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, tell your family, but don't tell me mum. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta.